Hey guys, in this video, I want to talk about why large caps matter and then why I think that they should be a major part in portfolios. So one, I do think diversification is best. So I'm not saying that I only own large caps and I'm never giving financial advice to anyone, but there is a certain train of thought that I think is good to at least think about diversification in terms of several things, really. Market cap for sure. I think we should be varied in that. I think you should be varied in the narrative that you're in, both the large narratives and niches. I think you should be diversified on the ecosystem, meaning if you have 5 coins and they're all on base or they're all on Solana, I'd vary it up a little bit. But with that being said, large caps have their place. I do plan on making a video in the near future about why own microcaps, though I am getting more and more as I've been in this space of thinking large caps are far better to be in for the most part. Yeah, microcaps have the more potential of astronomical gains. And if you're chasing 50x's or plus, you need to look at microcaps. And I'll do a whole video on that in the near future. But large caps have a big purpose. They definitely have what I think is a requirement, at least in my portfolio. And I want to go over reasons why both short-term and long-term. So let's get right into this. Why do large caps matter? And why do I think that either me or anyone that I love and would give thoughts and advice to, like my family, why I would push large caps? So real quick, let's define large caps in this video because I'm going to call it everything that's roughly $1 billion market cap or more. I understand traditionally right now we're calling it like 10 billion more, and then 1 billion and 10 million is moderate, or we change this shit all the time because of the amount of liquidity that comes into play. But for the sakes of this video, I'm talking about roughly $1 billion market cap or higher as a large cap. So a big reason I think we should do it is volatility. There's less of it. Now, do realize less volatility just means we see somewhere up to 15% swings on any given 48-hour period versus microcaps. It's much more common to see up to like 40, right? But that less volatility is a good reason. It helps us stay a little bit calmer. It lets us just get more confidence in it, because as nice it is to see a crypto that does this, at least for swing trading, which I like to do. I look for that stuff. Seeing one that does this, much better for the internal mindset, right? Like my two highest conviction plays, hbar and quant, they have both been called stable coins so many times, not because they actually are stable coins, but their prices stayed stable, where people use this as a negative. I got so much hbar and quant due to it being stable. It was really nice. And that is certainly a plus. And this is what makes them, like we call them hedges or blue chips. They're less explosive. And historically, data shows that large caps just have a lower risk, but still a very solid reward compared to small caps. It's just not nearly as exciting. Personally, I will take a 3 to 5x on a crypto every day of the week. I will keep a little bit left over for more, but at that point, I just move what I profit into something else. I do hodl quant, currently hodling a couple others, Aerodrome, hbar, pretty much every Solana, ASM, Illuvium, most of the ones I own right now, but I'm not going to hodl them forever. Large caps I'm open to, which kind of brings me to my second point, or at least the reason why I would be willing to hodl large caps, is institutional and corporate adoption. Fucking use cases. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that microcaps don't have use cases. Not true. At least not for all of them. But the large caps are more likely to have more use cases and actual money coming in. Most of them have been around longer. And if you've ever been part of building a business, it takes some fucking time, like years. And everything that we see as large caps right now weren't at one point, right? It's because of actual adoption and use. Not as much the actual price of the crypto, but what it's worth, yes. And just for everything in future for this, there's going to only be stronger institutional corporate adoption, right? Big players coming in, corporations, hedge funds, governments, for crying out loud, right? They're going to go into what? The more reputable, secure networks, just due to the proven track record, and they want to keep their money safe. So whales will come in, and not just investing whales, I mean like corporate whales come in and they'll buy up these large caps. JP Morgan came onto Aerodrome, right? They also believe that they have something going on with Onyx. Correct me, I'm not big into Onyx, but look at Ethereum. Look at Quant. These have banks coming in for it. XRP, same story. Chainlink, same story. You can announce companies that are coming from. VeChain is another one. Walmart and BMW, real companies that come in and use this shit. Large caps, I think they're the ones that are going to be closer to stocks sooner. Yes, I understand there's penny stocks and that's your micro caps, but if you had that wise ass thought in your head like I just did, you also understand my point. Large caps also for the short term, far more likely to get real catalysts that are pushed by governments. I mean specifically ETFs in this case. Now here in the US, they've made it so they can fast track ETFs, and it's already been working. Just no one seems to give a shit because they're so afraid of what's going on in the market, which is nothing. But like Solana had a staking ETF passed. So did Hedera. No one cared. But this is a good thing because the large caps, based off the criteria for fast tracking ETFs, they're the ones that are going to get listed. We're going to see in the near future, can't promise all of these, but these are the sized ones, of Avalanche, very confident of, Litecoin, more Solana, more hbar. There's going to be XRP. There's probably going to be Chainlink. There's probably going to be Ondo. Like a lot of these are going to get the ETFs, and it's almost solely, a large part of it is because they're large caps. Another big thing is liquidity and the umbrella of finances, meaning larger caps. Ethereum is the big one on this one, right? A lot of money comes into Ethereum. Not because Ethereum directly does things. I mean, there was the whole narrative of layer twos that were created so Ethereum's actually cost effective. But when all these companies, let's say layer twos, right? Let's just say Base, right? Several of them. There's Polygon, there's Linea. Each one of those has other companies growing on them, right? So if we use Base as an example, Base is a layer two on Ethereum. When Base makes money, Ethereum makes money. That helps the large caps, doesn't it? And Base will make money because they have other companies on them that are making money for them, right? They have Aerodrome, they have Moonwell, they've got Toshi, what was that, Morpho. There's so many other ones that are on there. They just build up, which then builds up Ethereum. And then if Ethereum has 84 layer twos, I think it's more than that now, that's 84 of the companies feeding liquidity into it. That's a large cap specialty, right? You're not going to get that with the smaller ones. Now, yes, I do understand, like, what about new layer ones? What about Supra? Or how about ones that have a little bit more going for it, but not huge yet, like Sui or Say? Aptos is floating around there, right? They're more risky, but still the same concept of if you think they're going to get up to a large cap or not. I'm not counting some of those in this case because they're not there yet. And then lastly, they're more likely to survive. And that's a big deal. That's why I'm personally in my backup plan and really for my bear market plan, regardless of how the next year goes, is going to be mostly going into large caps. They live longer. They're much more likely to because of everything that was already stated, right? They have deeper liquidity. They're going to have corporate adoption. They're going to have ETFs or be looking at ETFs. They've got other companies built underneath that brings money in for them. They're just more likely to survive, right? And so whether you're looking at short term, probably that part doesn't matter as much. Long term, it certainly does. Now, if we're looking at large caps to get into right now, or when everything crashes and we're in a bear market, which I don't care if you think we're in a bear market right now or not, prices are going to get a lot fucking lower in the next year or so when I feel like we're in a bear market. But I mean, even if let's say we are in a bear market right now, prices are still going lower. In other regards, we got lower prices, better discounts for us in the future. But the crypto that I am looking at or would look at in large caps to get, you already know what they are. They're the popular ones because crypto is a popularity contest, and that's really what decides who's buying what when. And the ones that stay as large caps are the ones to look for future investments long term. These are your Ethereum, your Solana, your hbar, Avalanche, Link, Quant, XRP. Right? There are several others. Typically look at the top 25 or 50 right now and place your bets accordingly. So there you have it, guys. Large caps are important. If I was only going to have one grouping of market cap size, it would be large caps because it is the least risky with the closest to guaranteed results eventually. Versus micro caps could be like, we're going to just be sucking down shit for a while, but at some point it's going to explode in a good way, make our money in 3 days after a year of waiting and get out. Right? It's risk aversion, it's tolerance is also what your goals are on. So tell me down below, what are your favorite large caps right now? What do you have the most conviction in? Which ones do you like to see? Which ones would you buy if the price goes down lower? Tell me your thoughts about any of that shit and beyond. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.